Live, coming at you live and uncut. Welcome to the Ken Hin Chan, y'all. How is everybody doing this evening? Hope y'all having a good time. We're gonna try to keep y'all entertained with lots of fun and exciting Gemini AI centipede. I'm going to do some live demonstrations of what Gemini calls the gem. All right. If you're not familiar with the Gemini Gems, these are essentially a set of actions and outputs that streamline the commands that you're giving your AI tool. So Google has a number of these predefined labs made gems. A lot of these are really interesting, very useful. Down here under the Gem Manager, and so if you're in the Gemini app, so I'm just on the website here, gemini.google.com. We just happen to be here in full screen mode, but I'm just out here on the web, all right, in my browser. And when you expand the menu here towards the top, you'll have the gems section. So that's where we are. I'm just going to close that menu up nice and tight. And yeah, what we're going to do is just dive right in. So a couple things for you this evening. First and foremost, we are going to give you an overview demonstration, live demonstration of the Podcastinator gem that I have recently created. And then after we get through doing a demo of Podcastinator, I want to create another gem called Podcastinator. Really, really, really interesting stuff, let me tell you. So buckle up, lock in. Let's see if I can keep you all entertained. And let's dive in. So first and foremost, as I said, we got the Podcastinator gem. So if I just open this bad boy up, so as a we'll do two things for the demo here. So first with Podcastinator, I'm just going to show you a couple of previous ones that I've ran, and you can actually see it live happening in action. Before I do that, you'll notice here at the top, this is my advanced playlist curator. So Podcastinator analyzes a JSON or a text list to perform harmonic mixing calculations, optimizes track order based on the Camelot keys and tempo. And it does a few more things. Let me just back out of, I don't need to back out of full screen here. What I meant to do is go back to the gems. And I want to actually open this up so you can see some of the details of it first. And then we shall diveth into the deets. All right. So you'll notice that when you create a gem, you give it a name, pretty easy. You give it a quick description, and you'll notice that this text that is displayed here is the exact bit of data that is presented when I open the gem to run it. And so, sorry, just getting all my stuff over here squared away. All right. And so, yeah, then we give it the set of instructions. So this right here is the meat and potatoes. The instructions for your gem, as I said, these are your gem's main objectives. Okay, pretty self-explanatory. And these are the capabilities and the style of response. Okay, and I'll just click on the Learn More. And you can see a little bit more detail. So there's a nice little guide here that YouTube has published on tips for creating these custom gems, related sources, so on and so forth, how to create it, write great gem instructions. And this is a cool, this is one of those meta prompting features right here, is where you actually use the AI to help write the instructions to ensure that your instructions are as clear and concise as what you need them to be. So here's just a quick overview for a quick how-to, right, for writing your gem instructions. So when you do that, you don't need to use all 4 of these areas, but at least adding a couple of these 4 things will make your gem better for you and produce better responses every time. So the 4 areas is a persona, and this is where you tell your gem what role to play and how to respond to your prompts. So you're giving it a task, and that's where you tell the gem what you want Gemini to do or create. You give it a context, and that's where you give it as much background as possible. And then you can even give it a format to be specific when you're specifying your desired structures, okay? So a couple of examples, here's their brainstormer gem, and you can see this is given it all 4 of the items. It's given it a persona, it's given it a couple of tasks and some context, as well as all of the formatting. Similarly here for the coding partner and even the writing editor, clear and concise, right? And then this is what I had mentioned a second ago, is using Gemini to help write your instructions for your gem. And so when you want your gem to provide more custom responses and guidance for you, when they have these clear, detailed instructions, it's just going to be better content. It's going to save you time. Instead of your AI being maybe 50%, it's going to be more like 90%, 95%. So that is what we're here to do today. All right. And so let's back out of here. That opened in that another tab, and let's just dive back in. So again, looking at these instructions, let me just copy. I'm just going to select all, and we're going to, I have already done this in the past, but I have also given my Gemini settings. I've given this some more recent personal intelligence to be even better. So this one's a little bit older, so we'll do a little bit of tweaking on the fly. So what I'll do, I probably just need to stay out of full screen mode because we'll be kind of bouncing back and forth here. So I'm just going to go ahead and open a new tab, and then we're just going to open up the Gemini. And I'm going to move to the Pro mode, and I'm just going to tell Gemini to help me refine my Podcastinator gem. This is the description, right? This is the instructions. Gemini custom instructions provided below. All right, and I'll just keep that prompt really simple. And you can see some details here. Let me expand this out a little bit more so you can see what all this is doing here. So what I've told it is that the input preference is to always prefer a JSON export of a playlist track list over a screenshot. And that's simply because if I give my gem a screenshot from Spotify or Apple Music, for example, it has to first perform some optical character recognition on the screenshot. So depending on the quality of the screenshot, sometimes it does a good job of recognizing each of the characters. But what I tend to do is leading up to using the Podcastinator, I like to curate my own playlists. And sure, there are plenty of AI tools out there today that are creating all sorts of custom playlists, so on and so forth. But if I'm hearing some music, some songs that I like, I'll add them. I also have a if you're familiar with this website called ifttt.com. I'll just show you that real quick too. We'll just rabbit hole this whole thing, okay? So ifttt.com stands for if this, then that. This was one of the earlier websites that allowed you to create these automations that connected all sorts of disparate platforms that by themselves could not connect. I guess you could call this the early days of what today AI is calling the MCP, right? And MCP is your model context protocol. And it is an open source standard that was introduced by Anthropic that enables AI models to seamlessly connect with external data sources, tools, and software applications. So it is a standardized universal connector. It's like a USB-C plug, essentially, right? It's so that an LLM, large language model, an AI, can have access to that real-time information, and it can read local files, interact with databases, and it allows other AIs to talk to each other natively over this open source standard. So it doesn't have to translate to English first and then decompose it and then translate it back. It is a secure way to get all that information. So essentially, IFTTT was an early iteration of that, if you will. And let me just get signed in here, right? And I'll just open up the My Applets. So the reason I came over here to IFTTT is I have this applet that is always running, and it's a really simple one that when I like a song on Spotify, add it to my liked tracks, IFTTT will detect and it'll trigger every time I save a new track to your music on Spotify. All right. And when it does this, the trigger gathers these couple of ingredients. It gathers the track name, track URL, the artist name, and the album title, the album cover URL, saved at, track ID, and the track iSource. That's what's going on there. So then I also have a bit of filter code, which I will open that up here in just a moment and show you a bit more detail. Essentially, though, it will then add that track to a custom playlist for that month. All right. And let's see, where do I get into the I am all over the place here. Sorry, settings. Here we go. Top right. Okay, so here's the filter code. So this is, I guess this feature is with the IFTTT Pro subscription. And I don't want to toot horn or anything, but I have a grandfathered in subscription. It's literally like $2 a month. It is one of the cheapest subscriptions that I have, and it has just been invaluable. All right. This filter code is a way to format. All right. And what it will specifically do is it's going to format the display of a date time value that is extracted from current user time, and then it saves that to a variable. And I got that information from this website called momentjs.com. All right. And I'm setting a variable right here. So let the playlist title equal meta.currentUserTime, and then we're formatting it. All right. And this set of text right here is essentially, it's putting a 1 in front of it, and then it's putting the year dash month, and then it's putting in the word Electrocesnas. Electrocesnas is a little personal keyword phrase, if you will, that represents a song that I like that is electronic, and it resembles a Cessna airplane, so a propeller, a buzzing synthesizer, and so that's my theme is an Electro Cessna. So I could have just as easily, kept this super generic. For the most part, this playlist that is created is it's a scratch pad. Every month, a new playlist gets created because of this key thing right here. And so I don't have to necessarily think about putting it into a specific playlist. Again, I'm using the custom playlist that gets created as my scratch pad, my initial playlist, knowing that I'm not going to keep the order of the tracks that they land in. And then what it will do is pass that previously created variable to the command, and then that is Spotify.add a track to a playlist, and then it's setting that playlist to playlist title, which we gathered right here. All right, pretty simple. So that's the filter code, and then it does the add that track. So technically they're kind of doing one and the same, actually, now that I think about it, because it's doing the command right here. But I believe that it's passing it through, right? It's not actually doing it. It's passing it through. And this is where it gathers that information. Okay. So that's what's happening in the back end. I like I said, I have this thing connected. This thing's always running. This thing's been running for quite some time. Last ran on Feb 9. And let me just fire up the Spotify desktop app here, and we'll just pop in here. So as of right now, if we open up this month's playlist, so we're looking at the 2026 February Electrocesnas playlist. That's pretty empty right now because I did already run the Podcastinator earlier this month, and I was able to produce Neon Marrow came in, that came in January. Fuzz Ingress is the one that I had started at the beginning of the month. Yeah, here we go. 1 week ago, 5 days ago. So this is what this playlist looks like. And I'm going to jump over to the actual Podcastinator interaction for creating this playlist, so you can kind of see how everything got brought together here nicely. Okay, when these songs started landing into the original 12/0/26/02 Electrocesnas, it was in the order in which I liked the song, just like these are right now. These are in the order in which I've liked these recently after already moving those out. Okay, and so what I typically will do, and here's a couple of highlights, is you'll notice when I have a playlist in mix mode compared to, let's see if I can let's do playlist by me. Let me go to a little bit of an older playlist that's not mixed. Okay, so here's maybe the December 2025 Electrocesnas playlist. So you'll notice I'm not in mix mode, and you'll notice that there's some things different. Okay, there's no BPM, there's no key that's listed, and so it's pretty barren. And what I typically do is from my phone, I'm sure there is a web-based version of this app as well, and there potentially could be a complete way to do this from the from the desktop. That would probably make my workflow a little smoother, but I started doing this all from my mobile, and so I have kept some of the workflow here. I have this app on my mobile phone. Let's see if you can kind of see some of what's going on here. This app is called Song Shift, and I know that this is an iOS app because I have an iPhone. It may very well be cross-platform, but in short, the way that Song Shift works is that you can subscribe, you can link up all of your music services. I have Apple Music configured. I don't use Amazon Music. I don't use Audio Mac or Deezer. I do see Discogs on there, but I really only use that for my vinyl collection. Last FM is in there, but again, I really don't use that one anymore. Napster, Pandora, SoundCloud, of course, Spotify is here, YouTube's here, and then the famous Tidal is also here. So at any time, and another reason that I started using this Song Shift music service mobile app is that at one time I was considering exiting Spotify, so I wanted a quick and easy way to get all of my Spotify playlists moved over to some other services. So I connected them all together. And so once you have your music services listed, then you simply create a shift, all right? And you start with giving it a source. And in my case, I have the option there that I can give it an Apple Music album playlist or a song. Then I can also, and most of the time I'm working out of the Spotify one, so I can either give it an album or a playlist. And again, I'm mostly using a playlist from Spotify there. So I go to my Spotify playlists, and then it spits out a list of all of my recent Spotify playlists. Okay. We're specifically, since we have the December 2025 on the list, we'll just use that one as the example. So I'm going to select that one, and then I'm going to confirm it, and then we have to choose a destination. Now, again, most of the time I am doing a transfer of a Spotify playlist over to Apple Music. In this case, I'm going to change that destination. And there are a couple of other destinations. You'll notice at the bottom of that list is a file export, all right? And within that file export, you can choose to export it to a JSON file or a text file. And so I choose JSON file, and then I literally just click the blue Start Shifts button at the bottom. It's that easy, right? So it goes through, it calculates, it's right up there at the top of the list, tells us that it was complete. So I click into it, and now it has an export file. Sorry, this is not this is not very tech, very high tech here. But anyway, I click on that export file button, and it gives me a file dialog to where I can save. I can save my playlist as a .json file, JSON. All right, and then what I will do is inside of Gemini is I will give it this particular JSON file to run. Okay. So we went through IFTTT and we got all that. So that's where this whole JSON goes, and it's because it is way more accurate and it makes it more efficient. Okay. So the role of Playlistinator is the harmonic curator, and it's a growth marketer. So I tell it that you are an expert music curator, mixing engineer, and digital marketer. Your goal is to transform raw track lists into cohesive sonic journeys or DJ sets, and then generate the professional content required to market and monetize them. Haven't really leaned in on the marketing or the monetizing at this moment, but that's future goals. All right, and so then we give it a couple of some background stuff, and I tell it, here's the missing data protocol, and it says that if the input lacks a key, which is the Camelot, or if it lacks the BPM, this is the important part. I tell it to go search for this metadata, and I tell it to do not guess. Spoiler alert, it guesses, and it's not accurate. So I've actually found here recently that the Gemini OCR, optical character recognition technology, has come quite a long ways in just the past 3 to 6 months of using this app. So I actually may end up changing this out and just using screenshots. So, and in fact, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to pick provided below. I'm just going to add some more notes up here at the top. I'm going to say I've found that Playlistinator is not very accurate at searching for the track key and BPM metadata, and that providing a screenshot from, hang on, we're not done yet. Hang on. And that providing a screenshot from my Spotify playlist, which includes those pieces, makes Playlistinator far more accurate and helpful. Okay? And then I'll just give it a little guider line. So anyway, that's what it's doing. Even though I told it do not guess, it guesses, and it hasn't been accurate. So the search query, telling it where to go, try to search for that information, TuneBat, Music Stacks. The priority source, tell it use TuneBat first, then go to Music Stacks, then go to Beatport. And then I want you to normalize it, convert all those keys to a Camelot notation. So for example, a G major equals 9B, a B minor is 10A, so on and so forth. And you'll notice those letter number combinations are exactly what is present in the Spotify playlist. Okay, so that's what that key in the BPM is. So that's that. And then I tell it to do some reordering logic, coming up with that perfect mix. So I tell it to reorder the tracks to create a seamless mix using the Camelot wheel. And here's priority 1, a seamless transition between a track is when you go from the same key. So if I have 2 songs that are in the same key, transitioning between them is the best. And then very closely to that is its harmonic neighbors. And that's basically when you step up, you step up 1. so from an 8A to a 7A, or from 8A to 9A. Or you could even have it do a mood shift. That's where you're having it go from it being from a minor to a major. All right, staying in the same key. So then it's priority 2 is an energy shift, and that's where you increase by 2 numbers. That's where you give it a lift, or alternatively, you could give it a drop, right? And so then the rescue is that if no harmonic match exists, choose the closest BPM or create a new harmonic island. And the flow goal is to start with an atmospheric, then build to a peak using those harmonic lifts, and then end with a strong conclusion. All right, so that's the general overview. That's the general flow that I'm looking for with my playlist ordering. All right, and then I'm giving it some thematic and genre analysis. So what I want it to do is incorporate some personal themes, such as the current month, the weather outside, maybe some local events that have been happening nearby, and then playlist naming conventions is the electro-sesness. There's that earworm synths that I was talking about earlier. Okay, and then I want it to do a genre breakdown for me. I want it to categorize the tracks, such as progressive, glitch, ambient, industrial, so on and so forth. And then I tell it to give me these specific output structures. And I tell it to provide me a single complete response with these 5 sections. So I want it to give me the reordered track list, which includes the order, the track title, the artist, the key, the BPM, and then what its mix logic and the transition notes look like, okay? And then I gave it, an example. I told it to give me the playlist identity, and I want it to suggest a title. I want it to be unique and evocative. For a while, I was getting playlist titles that seemed to reuse some words such as surge or echoes, and so I specifically told it to avoid using these two, but ideally keeping it set to unique and evocative gives some interesting names. All right, and then I tell it to give me a playlist description that is 250. In fact, we ought to just take that out there, because it can go 250 characters max in that Spotify playlist description. All right, and then this is the fun part, is I tell it to write me a cover image prompt. So I tell the AI to write me a prompt that I will then feed right back to the AI. And of course, I'm going into the Nano Banana tool to create that playlist cover. And I want it to visually represent the core mood. Okay? I also want it to draft a WordPress blog. So I tell it to go ahead and generate that. Give me the post title, some SEO, search engine optimized, focused keywords, and then generate the description. I need on my blog in the WordPress app. It gives you the option to create a post excerpt, which is just a concise summary of said post. And then the content is essentially a genre blend summary, a paragraph of the overall vibe of the playlist. And then I have it do a track by track analysis, providing commentary on the reordered flow of that playlist. And then I also have it produce a call to action, some sort of an engaging closing line. And then this is the new thing that I added, is the growth kit. And that's where, we're doing some promotion and potentially some revenue options in the future. But I do want it to produce a thread social post. And then what I will do is, link to the podcast, or excuse me, not the podcast, the playlist. And the thing is, a lot of these social apps, they don't really necessarily like it when you reference an external source. So sometimes the Threads post doesn't get a lot of visibility out there. But anyway, we are then having it give me some artist tags, listing the names or the handles of some of those artists, so that way I can even go so far as to tag them in that post. And then this is that new thing, is the affiliate hook. So I need to get set up as being an affiliate first, and then if I really wanted to monetize these playlists, then or rather the blog post, then inside the blog post I can inline link to some device or some object that I'm affiliate linking, right? Like obviously not selling it myself, but promoting it on behalf of somebody else and get a little cut of it. So okay, and then last but not least, I do tell it to give me a JSON block export, which really hasn't been very useful. So anywho, so that's what's going to go on. So here we are. Let's just tell Gemini to take a look at this and see if it can produce any updates on this thing. And then here we are. So it's telling us this is a smart pivot. You're encountering a classic LLM limitation, and that is search reliability versus context extraction. All right, and so LLMs are often inconsistent when Googling specific metadata because databases often conflict, or the model hallucinates a likely BPM for a genre rather than finding the exact one. So, however, LLMs, especially Gemini, are excellent at OCR. That's exactly what I was just saying a little bit ago, right? And so the model, giving it a screenshot, that's essentially treating the image of my playlist as a database rather than having it go out to the web and find the details itself. So hopefully this is doing exactly what I want, and it is going to switch back to, instead of using the little bit more complicated option of a JSON file, which of course then means I would have to go to my phone to do the export. This is a way that I could actually just do this all from right here at my desk, and we'll have everything, all from the same location. So what we'll do then is, let me just get the markdown. So the harmonic curator and growth marketer, you're an expert in music curator, mixing, and digital marketing. So this part's pretty much the same. The input analysis, if the image screenshot is provided, then treat the image as the source of truth. Cool. Oops, let me scroll back down. It's like, yeah, there we go. I was like, where'd my scroll bar go? Okay, and so it pretty much does the same thing. Like I said, I think I'm going to take out the JSON export. That really hasn't been very helpful. And then what I'm going to do is, so then we can see what it came up with. So it added section 0, which is the input analysis. And it suggested to do this because it explicitly commanded the model to prioritize the OCR. And it tells the Gemini engine to look at the pixels first. Don't go to Google if the answer is on the screen. So we're then telling it, oh, I'm out of water, and I'm going to need some more water here momentarily. Doing a little bit of talking. Didn't prepare. We've downgraded to go search as a fallback. And then we've preserved electrocesness, kept your specific naming convention and example, as it helps the model understand your specific flavor of branding. So pro tip for the screenshot: when you snap the picture in the Spotify desktop app, right-click the header bar and ensure BPM is a visible column. which again, you know, we've got that turned on. And if you're not seeing it, another thing is, like, let me go back to this one. If you're not seeing, yeah, see, you really can't just turn on. Oh, there it is, BPM and key. So I just did exactly what it told me to do. Right click on the columns and turn on BPM and key. Woo! It didn't even have to turn on mix mode. Okay. So this, we'll get this lined up. Get my old snipping tool out. All right. And then we're just going to take a screenshot right there. So now I've got this on my clipboard over here. Okay. So we've got that all prepped up. So we're done with Spotify for the moment. So we did this. Okay. And would you like for me to create a quick link prompt you can paste whenever you upload the image to ensure it follows the logic? No, not necessarily. But here's what we'll do. Let me just go ahead and copy this code. Let's get back over here. And let me just do a Control-A, Control-V over the top of it. And as I said, I have not been using this JSON export. So for the sake of speeding up my gem, I'm just going to remove that out. And then let's see if there's anything else. The growth kit. Let's dive in. Let's dive into the growth kit. Let's say regarding the growth kit section. Let's see. Besides a threads post, I do also use Facebook and LinkedIn primarily. Also have a Reddit account. I don't really use any of the other ones. Probably have some accounts out there, but really don't use any of the other ones. Should we have Podcastinator create separate posts for each of these platforms? If so, should I, how do we want to say this? Should I, what do we want to say? Should I try to funnel traffic to my blog post or directly to the playlist? All right, let's just see what it says. I'm just kind of doing some back and forth, some conversation here with Gemini to try to enhance this. Okay. All right, so it's done thinking. All right. Crucial strategic question. Most people link dump on all platforms and they get zero engagement because the algorithms, especially the LinkedIn and Facebook algorithms, are actively punishing posts that send the users off-site immediately. So the strategy, tailored to our curator marketer goals, followed by the updated section D. So the strategy is where to funnel is Short answer is we want to funnel to the blog or the landing page, not directly to Spotify. And why is because the high intent signal. So if we link directly to Spotify, then we get those curiosity clicks. People who click maybe listen for 5 seconds and then they leave. Spotify's algorithm sees this high skip rate and then they think, well, this playlist is bad, and it effectively kills the growth. There's also the algorithm protection, so that if we send them to my blog first, then only the people who actually care will go from blog to the playlist on Spotify. And technically on the blog posts, for example, if we head over here to musingsofmy.today, I'll show you a couple of examples of one of them. Let's go past this latest blog post. This is one directly of a single song. This one's not quite what we're looking for. We'll leave the one right here, right after. Here we go. Turbine Twilight. All right. So this was so I didn't make a prompt in December, and so we'll probably when we run this gem here in just a moment, we may frame it in such a way that this was the playlist from December, and then we can have it draft a prompt, all the things, the content out there. So what you're seeing here, this is an example of a Gemini. You can see the splash down here, Gemini produced image, exactly what I was looking for. Here's a square one, which is absolutely needed for the for the playlist cover. And we can see that the vibe of this playlist is a mechanical melancholy. Follows down through exactly what I was thinking, back and forth on there. Here's our track by track flight plan. I really should consider adding more to this, but point being, I came over here to show you this because I do actually do an embed right on the blog page of the playlist. And in retrospect, I'm realizing that I really ought to move that playlist, the embed up towards near the top of the post. That way, if people are coming here specifically looking for the playlist, they don't have to go diving through, and hopefully they can click play right on the embed, and then they can be listening to the playlist while we're going down through the list and reading about it. So there's that. I do also publish the playlist as a YouTube playlist. All right. And so anyway, those are all embedded right there. Same thing, October. All right. So you get where I'm coming from. So we'll follow me there. All right, so if we send them to the blog first, then only the people that care, the users, listen longer, which tells Spotify this playlist is gold, triggering the recommendation engine. The platform native rule is that LinkedIn and Facebook want users to stay on their apps. So it's bad to just say, check out my playlist with a link, and then the algorithm will probably hide that particular post and not show it to other people. When I say things like, here is a breakdown of how I mixed Tool with Chevelle, the algorithm boosts it. So here's our refined growth kit instructions. It says that it has expanded section D of our custom instructions to handle this platform specificity. It now generates distinct content for each platform's unique culture. So I need to replace my number 4 deliverables, specifically the subsection D, with all of this new content. So we'll copy that. Go back in here and let us, D is the last thing. So we will just simply replace over the top of it, just like we did, threads. Yeah, we don't care about X, so we will do, so it is suggesting we do a Reddit. Facebook is still there, LinkedIn. And this one's the one I'm a little concerned about, is LinkedIn says, and so this is interesting. Let's see what it says about LinkedIn. So I am a systems manager. That is true. I'm a manager of the systems infrastructure team. So positioning my playlists as productivity tools or systematic art, it aligns perfectly with my professional brand. So on Reddit, I am active in Hearthstone and WoW communities, even though I really don't play those two games much anymore. So I know that Redditors hate lazy self-promo. And so what this is doing is forcing the AI to write a high-value analysis post that a Redditor will actually find useful and upvote it. And then for Facebook, I simply leave it as a personal post for friends and family rather than making it spammy. So we don't need to do it. We don't need to do the packaging of the entire. So I already did that. Are you sure about the LinkedIn? Are you sure about the LinkedIn post? How does sharing art, music on a professional social network help hurt me? You know, especially if my role is in neither of these fields. Okay. So it is a valid concern. Posting music on LinkedIn is a high risk, high reward move. If done poorly, it does look like noise, but if it's done strategically, it builds a multi-dimensional professional brand. So as a manager of systems engineering and platform engineering, I am I am in a logic-heavy field. Very accurate. So sharing my Podcastinator project is actually a technical project management flex, not just a hobby share. So the objective breakdown of how this helps or hurts me is that it helps because of the systems flex. So on LinkedIn, people aren't just looking for my music or looking for any music for that matter. They're looking for process. So when I share my playlist through the lens of my Podcastinator project, what I'm demonstrating is an AI orchestration. I'm not just making a list. I'm actually using an LLM with OCR and JSON schema to automate a creative process. This is a direct application of platform engineering mindset. It is also product ownership, where I've identified a problem in that Spotify's metadata gaps, and then I build a solution, which is the Gemini Gem, and then I'm iterating on it. That's what we're literally doing here today. I'm showing you live, a bit more about this. Okay, so next is cultural leadership, and flow state and deep work are massive topics in tech. Positioning a playlist as a system for high performance engineering is highly relevant to my peers. And so how it could hurt is the noise risk. There's low context. If I just post a message that says, here's my techno playlist, it looks like I've mistaken LinkedIn for Facebook, and it can signal a lack of professional awareness. And we don't want to overpost. If my feed becomes 80% music and 20% infrastructure, then I risk diluting my identity as an IT leader. So the LinkedIn strategy adjustment is this. To ensure this only helps my professional brand, the AI should write the LinkedIn post with a meta-analysis tone. Instead of, check out my music, the post should be, how I used AI to solve a metadata problem in my creative workflow. So here is the updated growth kit for the LinkedIn logic. This is the full refined Playlistinator, and I believe it still has the JSON export at the end, which it does. We'll erase that. But it did update LinkedIn, systems engineering angle, still have Facebook, still have Reddit, and Threads, the hot take, punchy engagement. So, okay, I'm not going to reply, and I don't necessarily need it to do that. So let me just copy that one more time. I feel like that we've iterated a few different times here. We've got a pretty good solid foundation. So I think that's good for the instructions. Let's just grab one more. Let's see, any enhance and improve Playlistinator's description. Okay. So here's the 3 refined options for the description, ranging from a technical to creative. Since gem descriptions have a character limit, these are optimized to be punchy while highlighting the new screenshot OCR and marketing capabilities. So the recommended one for me, Systems Architect, architects seamless sonic journeys from Spotify screenshots or JSON. I optimize track order via Camelot BPM logic and then generate full growth kits, including a blog draft, LinkedIn strategy, and social content to market my mix. I like that. It's pretty clean, pretty fresh, results oriented, truth, short and punchy, your AI music curator. Yeah. There you go. Yep. Cool. Okay. Let's place that in there. Default tool. Yeah, I'm not going to give it one. So we don't need to tell it to go in there. I did already give it some knowledge ahead of time. So I went out to one of the websites and I did a Camelot transition table Google Sheet. That's where it takes the key, right? The Camelot key, and translates that to the actual, the key that it's in. All right, y'all. We're gonna update this. And finally, once and for all, we're going to let this thing run. And again, what we're going to do, I have my screenshot here of December's Electro Cesnus playlist. And next is we're going to let the prompt do its thing. So I'm in my Gemini menu. I'm going to go specifically to the Playlistinator gem. Look at that. It's got all the new stuff. And then again, I will come back to these and I will show you guys some more details. But for now, I'm going to grab my my snipping tool, copy that onto the clipboard, paste that in here. Yeah. Hey, Playlistinator. We forgot to run our December playlist through the churn. I'll set this into pro mode. Run the routine. All right. So with that being the case, I'm going to click play. I'm going to submit this. And I am going to BRB. And I'm going to get myself a quick drink. Okay. All right, y'all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for being patient. So as I walked away, you got to see live happening here. All right. Self-correction after seeing the tool output is that I need to handle the specific text format returned by the OCR. It might be messy. I will clean it up. Let's start the Python tool. What's going on? Initiating the analysis. I'm currently dissecting the user's request, focusing on the persona Podcastinator and the run the routine task for a December playlist, carefully identifying and extracting the necessary inputs. I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, that's interesting. So what I'm going to do is actually, maybe even, yeah, I'll just copy all this. Let me go back over here to this tab. Hey, so Podcastinator sort of fell flat on its face. I attached my December playlist screenshot and a quick command, and you can see the results below. So let's tweak the instructions to fill in the missing gaps. All right. So I'll just prefix this with me. Oh no, it didn't copy all this other stuff. Let's see if I can get it to copy that. There we go. Okay. So that was me, Podcastinator custom gem. Okay, and then also this was its response there. Probably could even just copy the response, right? Okay, yep, let's see what it says. Pinpointing the over-engineering. Can you believe that? I over-engineered something. This is a classic case of the code interpreter trap. The model saw the word OCR or extract in my instructions and thought, oh, I need to be a software engineer to write a Python script using TestRack to read this. It's overkill. Gemini has a native vision where it can just look at the image, which is infinitely faster and more accurate than trying to write a script to do it. The script approach usually fails because of messy formatting or missing libraries. So what we need to do is hard code a ban on Python for image reading in our custom instructions. And the fix is a native vision only. So here's a corrected section 0 and section 1. And we need to go replace those in our gem immediately. I have bolded the specific commands that stop it from overthinking. All right, so let's go ahead and grab those. All right, so what we're doing, oh, actually, here's the full polished anti-overthink instructions. By explicitly saying do not write Python code, we're forcing the model to stay in its creative curator mode rather than switching to a developer mode. So let's copy pasta. Let's go back. Let's go back to gems. All right, and then let's edit Podcastinator and Control A, Control V, and get rid of section E. Boom. Okay. Yeah, I don't think we need to. Yeah, again, I don't think. Let's ask it. Okay, when you upload the image, try adding a simple prompt to prime it. Read the columns in this image directly, no code needed. Okay. So there's our primer prompt. That's what I should be adding when I add these next time. Okay. Do we need to select a default? Oops. A default tool. Okay. Clarifying those optimal settings. And I feel like we ought to get some, at least some kind of tunes here in the background, right? Maybe some stream beats. Maybe keep you entertained in the background here. Hope it's not too loud. Ooh, that's really loud. It's really loud. What if we take this down to about right there? All right. Somebody drop me in chat. Is the background music a little too loud? What's going on? How you feel? What do you hear? Talk to me, Goose. Okay. I think we're fine. Trying to get my live chat. Oh, here we go. That's what I wanted. Pop out my chat. What up, chat? All right, let's back out of there. I think we've got all the things we need here. So anyway, okay. So final piece. When I told it, do we need a default tool? So final piece. Short answer is no. Do not select a code interpreter. Native vision versus tools. We already went over that. We already said the conflict. So the default tool is none. Google search is turned on. We've already done that. And then code interpreter off entirely. So leave the default tool. Okay. So again, my primer prompt is read the columns in this image directly, no code needed. So that's my single prompt to prime it. Okay. So we've given it the updated instructions. Let's update this gem. Let's get back to business. Let's start a chat. So we're back in Playlistinator. All right, we're going to give it that single line. We are going to copy our playlist back in here. And let's put it back into pro mode. Run it, yo. What do you guys think about all this so far? Defining its needs, analyzing its core functions, simulating an image reading, simulating its image inspection. So you can see it's thinking, it's doing all of its stuff. If we expand this out, we can see exactly what Gemini is doing at the moment, what this gem is doing. So it's processing the image. Looks like it's extracting the correct text. It's extracting the list, interpreted the contents. Now it's developing the track list, correcting its prior assumptions with the precise data. He's got a corrected list, preparing to move on. Now he's prioritizing the track order. All right, looks like it's just about completed. So after it prioritized the track order, I've noted Midnight City as a strong opener, but I'm open to beginning with a track in the 120 BPM range for a more standard house set. Okay. Sequencing. Focusing on harmonic transitions. Okay. Looks like we've got a couple potential ones. Ghost voices to Inner Bloom. Where's it getting that from? Cola Faded? What? Hello? I don't think... What the heck? No. No, this didn't work at all. Yeah, hang on. You did not properly OCR the screenshot of my playlist. You completely hallucinated. Try again. Use this attached playlist. Screenshot. Yeah, if that doesn't work, what I'll do while we're waiting for this to go through, what I might just do is here in the snipping tool, I might just turn on this text actions. Yeah, there we go. So we can copy all the text. So I might just do that. If this fails again, let's give it one more chance. I haven't really had this much problem with this in the past. And again, this is why I did end up going down the the JSON export route, because I was finding that the JSON export was much more reliable, and certainly from reading the data. But yeah, in case that doesn't work, I'm just going to do copy all text, and then we'll just paste that onto the clipboard. It's really working hard. There we go. I have rescanned the provided image with strict OCR precision. Let's compare notes. Bruh. What in the world? I mean, I like Midnight City. And I mean, I like all those songs. But I don't know where in the French toast it got that all from. So... I'm you know what? I'm just gonna have this thing run it again. We've got a new so I'm just gonna say this is the December 2025 Electro Cessnas playlist text export. I don't really like that. What if I copy it as a table instead of text? Maybe a little better, maybe not. Hydro, bass hollow. Hydro is the song name. Bass hollow, Gucci Mane, Big is the artist. It's on the Lust album. So that part of it's fine. December 25th is when I added it to this playlist. Daggone it. Yeah, this might this might be a little bit more difficult than I don't know why it had to be difficult. Why does that have to be difficult? December 2025. This is a 98 BPM. That's correct. It's a 9A, and then we really don't need the length of it. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll just do. Where I got the number. So title, album date, excuse me, album, track title, the album. See date added. I really don't need the date added. Really all we need is the BPM, the key. Yeah, so threads. This is the artist. This is on the album threads. We don't need the date. 172 is the BPM. 8A is the key. And then 454, and then 2 is, I don't know where did it get in and R? Inner. Okay. Do You Flux Remix. Yeah, I don't know where I got in and R from. I think maybe from the cover image. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was on the playlist, the track cover. So we'll get rid of that. We'll move on to the next one. So the song "Do You." Again, here's just kind of what we're looking off of here. Yeah, maybe even is right there. Oh, too much. Too much, too much. Okay, do you Flux Remix? That's going to be there. It's the inner remix pack. We don't need the date. That is a 130 BPM, 6A key. All right, and then next song is Drifting, Ryan Playground. That part's correct. Don't care about that. This is the Drifting Remixes album. 128 10A. All right, and then From Above original mix, Eric Lucas. The album is Worship. 5. This is 126 BPM. This is 3B. Offside. That is David Cook's. So Warming Unit LP. (122 BPM), 10B. Song called Explorer is next. Whew, almost through it. See what I mean? This would have been a heck of a lot easier had I just exported it as JSON, which already would have had all that information in it. Yeah, I'm gonna do that right now because I already have the. I already have the JSON exported from that playlist. So I'm going to start the gem on my phone. I'm going into Podcastinator. All right. So with that being the case, let's go back here. And what we're going to say is read the columns. Read the columns. No, I don't even need to do that because I'm giving it the JSON. So I'm going to attach file. We need to go to playlist. And then we want December 2025. And then let's just run it. Now that ought to show up. It's running right now. Just give it a refresh. Okay, well, it's starting to present the output. It's not there yet. There we go. Boom. There we go. DJ mix strategy. Okay. So you can see from my mobile, I specifically attached that JSON file. If I were to open this file, hello? There we go. When it actually loads up the JSON file, we can clearly and evidently see that it accurately extracts my current playlist name, you know, all the things about it, what's so not artist, the album is Threads. Okay, so anyway, that's going to be more accurate. So let's close that down. So here's what Podcastinator came up with, is the reordered track list based on harmonic flow. This mix is engineered to simulate a flight path, taxiing with atmospheric down tempo, climbing with progressive house, and cruising with melodic techno, and hitting super sonic speeds with drum and bass before a garage landing. Okay, so the BPM and key data are derived from the sonic profile of these specific tracks and translated using your provided Camelot table. Okay, well, at least we have the right amount this time. And cross-check a few of these. So On the Moon. On the Moon by Kickbong. It is not 110, it's 100. And the key is 4B, not 7A. Boy, oh boy, man. Like, it's still fighting me. I get my... Yeah. Oh boy. I think I need to kill Spotify. All right. What else is killing me, Smalls? All right, I think we're unlocked now. Okay, yeah, so it's not accurate is the bottom line. I was going to give it another screenshot, but anyway, this is what it came up with. So if we really wanted to, you know, follow the suggestion there, we certainly could do the reordering. We've got a playlist title, description, then we got the cover image prompt, and it dropped the ball. Where's my cover image prompt? We've got our WordPress blog, growth kit, Facebook, Reddit, Threads. So anyway, that is the Podcastinator. I definitely need to go back to the drawing board and iterate on this thing a bit further because it is not doing a very good job on some of these items. So maybe what we do is we give it one more screenshot. Actually, I shouldn't even need to do that because I should have it already attached over here. Okay. Yeah, this guy right here. Ooh, all the things are locked up. I got too many browser tabs open or something, I guess. Yeah, I don't think we need Spotify open either. You can go back to town. Anyway, like we're well past midnight. Been at this for an hour and a half. Some of my friends may say, boy, you are long-winded, and boy, you probably should consider brevity. Duly noted. It's a long-form live stream. What do you expect? Whoops. Yeah, I guess what we can do. Is it not even going my screenshot? It's not. Hey, so, oh boy. We're locked up. Seems like we're locked up. I guess the stream's still going. It's acting like it is. It's kind of awkward. I think we're done here, though. Kind of struggling here getting this to work quite right. So today we did not complete the creation of my new Podcastinator gem. So that's going to be what's on the next episode. What we ended up doing is spending a lot of time going back and forth trying to enhance my current Playlistinator app, gem. And as you can see, you could spend a lot of time doing this. And that's exactly what we did is we iterated over here in the, my whole browser is just completely locked up at this point. We iterated with Gemini. We tried to do some enhancements, some improvements. Wasn't getting us there. Here's an example of my previous fuzz ingress playlist at the beginning of February. And early on I had only 10 songs. Like here's a couple screenshots. Maybe that's what I need to do is be a little bit more precise. Yeah, see, at one point I only had 10 songs. Okay, well, anyway. So Playlistinator honestly still has a bit of work to do to make this better and more accurate. So we'll keep iterating on that. We'll see if we can get this tuned in. And on the next live stream, I think we will dive into getting the Podcastinator gem built out. Of course, we're going to have to go back to Gemini. We're going to have to go do some back and forth, some iterating on that to get it to where we need it to be. But anyway, thank you all for joining and watching the Ken Hin Chan this evening. If this was entertaining, let me know in the comments. I would definitely appreciate your clicking of the like button if you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more of this sort of content, technical, vlog, video game live stream, Hearthstone, definitely click that subscribe button. Again, it doesn't cost you anything. Definitely would like to have you in the subscriber list. Make sure you sign up for notifications. That way, the next time I go live, you'll get a heads up, and that way you'll also be able to help interact with the community over on the YouTube, the channel community. So, again, thank you very much. Have a good night. Cheers. See you next time.